What's up, Seattle Sports Nation? It's Jackson, Marshall, and our special guest, Joey Calabro. He's back on the show.
What up, Joe?
For the Monthly Brew podcast. Say hi to everyone, Joe.
Oh, what's up, guys? It's great to be here.
For our first topic of the day, we're going to talk about the Seahawks and the recent news involving them. The big news is Bruce Irvin, as you guys may or may not know, was suspended for the first 4 games of the season for Adderall use. And today, the news just came out that tight end Anthony McCoy tore his Achilles tendon. So, what is your opinion on the loss of Anthony McCoy, Marshall?
Well, I think it's tough because Anthony McCoy, he was the first receiver last year who caught over 100 yards in a game, or had over 100 reception yards in a game in Week 14 for the Seahawks last year. I mean, he wasn't that pivotal part of our offense last year. I mean, it didn't seem like it, but and if you really look at it, he scored 3 touchdowns over the year, had some big gains late in games when they really counted, and actually, I mean, I like his frame. He's really tall, long arms. I mean, he's not the fastest. He drops some open balls, but I think it'll be a loss. But I feel like Luke Wilson, the 5th round pick, will be able to step in and take his role that he played.
Yeah, I thought he was a pretty important part of the Hawks. Obviously, got a nice frame. He can catch some difficult passes, but obviously not a very good blocker. He definitely a serviceable tight end, but I don't think we'll miss him too much.
Yeah, I've always really liked Anthony McCoy. I don't know why, but he is huge.
Whenever
and
he goes in motion, he high steps across.
I know, it's pretty funny. But he's big and he has really good hands, and he's so that makes him a pretty good receiving tight end. It's probably better than Zach Miller, actually. But because of the draft, I just think that makes the drafting of Luke Wilson that much more important. Hopefully he can step up and fill that role because, I mean, as a running team, we need 2 tight ends. And I actually think Luke Wilson will be able to be a better blocker than Anthony McCoy, which could help the running game. We'll see. I'm not really sure.
How about, I know they're having an NFL Top 100 rankings coming out, and Harvin was 91.
I think that's such crap.
And Russell Wilson's 51.
I love the love for Wilson, but how is Harvin only 91?
There's Ben Roethlisberger's ahead of him.
That's
some other, honestly, not very good players. But, I mean, who cares about the rankings? But, I mean, it's always nice to have some good publicity, but the Seahawks will get plenty of that this year. So moving on to kind of the Bruce Irvin stuff, not surprising that he was suspended for the use of Adderall. I mean, it circulates around the team. Sherman hooking up his teammates. Browner.
Browner's the one who got officially suspended.
Sherman did it.
We all know Sherman did it, but
got an
he
excuse.
just got out of it some way. So what do you guys think the impact's going to be for the Bruce Irvin?
I don't think it'll be that bad. I mean, it sucks because Averill is going to play some linebacker, which was going to be nice. But now he has to kind of move into that more defensive end role. So Irvin will miss 4 games. The first 4 games. First is the Panthers, Niners, Jaguars, Texans. So 2 games in there, tough. The Niners and the Texans. So Averill and Ben will have to step up big in those 2 games.
Yeah, I think Irvin obviously showed a lot of promise with his 8 sacks last year. So that hurts. It obviously hurts, especially against those teams like the Texans and the 49ers. But I think what it hurts most is the flexibility, because adding Averill and Bennett, who are both guys that could play different positions along the line, and Averill can also play some linebacker. So now it really gives us a lot less versatility and a lot less ways we can mix up the defense. But Irvin wasn't really a 3-down player yet, so I don't think it's going to be that big of an impact.
Irvin was a 1-down player every single snap last year, except if someone got injured. I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All of his sacks came in the Green Bay game. Those stats, I think, are really misleading. I don't think it'll be that big of an impact.
Yeah, he had a lot of games where he was non-existent, and in that 4-game stretch that he'll be out, they should be able to weather the storm. They should be able to hone in on Kaepernick without his favorite wide receiver, Crabtree. They should be fine.
Yeah, so as Joey's talking about, Michael Crabtree came out just yesterday or 2 days ago that He also tore his Achilles. The mirror injuries there for the Hawks and the 49ers. How do you guys see that impacting the 49ers offense?
I think that Crabtree was becoming Kaepernick's favorite wide receiver this year. He was going to be the number one wide receiver. I mean, they still have Vernon Davis. Hopefully they can get A.J. Jenkins rolling.
Not hopefully, but
hopefully for their if I was looking from their perspective, I would want A.J. Jenkins getting to go. He's just a wasted draft pick last year. Did not do anything. But I think he should develop pretty well. But I think it'll limit their attack, but there's just such a good coaching staff, such a good and skilled team. Kaepernick can find ways to do unbelievable things, just like Russell Wilson. So I think it'll have a big impact, but not as big as some people might think.
I actually disagree. I think the impact is huge. I mean, Crabtree is becoming his favorite receiver by a large margin. I believe the numbers since when Kaepernick started, when he took over the quarterback role, it was 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions when thrown to Michael Crabtree, 1 touchdown and 4 interceptions when he was throwing to anyone else. So obviously the efficiency and the accuracy and the completion percentage and everything is way, 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 way worse when he's not throwing to Michael Crabtree. And although Vernon Davis is a good option, and Mario Manningham's a guy who they're going to get back off an injury,
Anquan Boldin's going to be the number
Anquan
one
Boldin
wide
obviously is
receiver,
going to be another good addition.
He's not good at.
So
he's slow.
Obviously, that'll help take away some of it, but I think it's going to still be a huge impact.
Yeah, I won't pretend to know much about the relationship between a quarterback and his wide receiver, but I think Manningham and Davis should be able to step up. I think Bolden is a threat, but as Marshall said, very slow. Won't be able to take that explosiveness.
They're not
He
similar.
doesn't have a deep
Crabtree.
threat. He is not a deep threat. He just goes up for jump balls. He's just good hands.
That's what Mario Manningham will probably be that deep threat guy to take over that role.
Break his 2-inch wide legs. His skinny legs.
Yeah, he's pretty good though.
Injury prone.
He made the killer catch.
He's injury prone
for the Giants against my Patriots in the Super Bowl, so
his legs are so
despise
skinny.
him.
That's why he can get all those tiptoe down the sideline catches. I mean,
yeah, I guess.
That's Marshall Charrington evaluating the girth of wide receiver
injury
legs.
prone.
All right, so moving on.
He's unlike Harvin. Harvin's thick.
We were talking about rankings
fast.
earlier, talking about Harvin, talking about he was the 91st ranked player. Bucky Brooks of NFL.com, he's a former scout, said today that he thinks Marshawn Lynch is the best overall running back in the NFL. I think many people would say not. Adrian Peterson and other guys. But what do you guys think? If you disagree, who do you think's better?
I completely disagree with him, and I think, as many other people do, that Adrian Peterson is the best running back in the league. There is no question about it. Marshawn he's still a little bit in his prime, but soon he's going to be on a downhill slide, and I think that's the main reason why Christine Michael is the Seahawks' first draft pick this year.
Well, he's not saying he's going to be the best running back down the road. He's saying
he's
that
saying
also
right now. He's
also
not
the
even
combination.
the best right now.
Also I'm not necessarily agreeing with him. I'm just playing devil's advocate. Obviously, he's third in the league in rushing. He's a beast of a runner. But he was saying he's a more complete back than Adrian Peterson. Has better hands. Has better ball skills. Which I do agree with. Hands. He doesn't have the best hands. But they're better than Adrian Peterson's. Peterson's got bricks for hands.
Are you sure about
that? He catches like 15 catches a whole season.
He doesn't need to catch
But
anything.
yeah,
He
the
just
fact
runs.
is, when you run like AP does, you don't need good hands.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I would say Adrian Peterson is the best running back in the NFL.
In the circumstances for both of those teams, Adrian Peterson plays a bigger role on that team than Marshawn does for ours. And Christian Ponder is just a terrible quarterback. They have no other option
not
to go
what Bucky Brooks
for
was
their
saying.
offense. I know.
It's not about value to the team. It's about skill as a runner and skill as a running back overall.
Adrian Peterson has more skill. He always has had more skill than Marshawn Lynch. Adrian's faster. Has that higher leg drive. Marshawn's just... he's low to the ground, which makes him powerful. But Adrian Peterson is powerful in whatever position he's in.
I agree with you, all right? Adrian Peterson is the best running back in the NFL. But I'm just saying that Bucky Brooks has some valid points.
Who cares about this random Bucky Brooks guy?
All right.
Adrian
Peterson is the best running back in the NFL. But I don't think
all his followers should follow me.
Oh my god.
I know more than him.
I don't think
Shameless. That is shameless.
Self-plug by Marshall Charrington. Everyone take note of what Marshall just did.
J Calabro 6. Twitter.
Screw all you guys.
22.
Shut up. All right. We're clearly getting out of control here, so we're going to move on to the Mariners now. The big news with the Mariners, besides the fact that they are back to sucking on the 6-game losing streak, is that Jesus Montero was sent down and brought up, and Jesus Sucre was brought up to replace him, and Robert Andino was designated for assignment, and they brought up, who did they bring up? Oh,
Carlos
Triunfel, yeah, to replace him. So obviously the Mariners management is realizing that this lineup, or at least parts of this lineup, aren't going to be good enough to maintain that winning culture that they want. But I don't know. I don't know if these moves are going to be enough to help them move out of the slide that they're on. What do you guys think?
Well, I think, they got to turn around sometime. I think these roster changes will provide some new energy within the club. Triunfel hopefully will provide some pop at the shortstop position. Maybe if he plays well enough, he could overtake Ryan in the lineup.
Well,
but
it's always going to be more pop than Robert Andino and Brendan Ryan. Those guys can't hit.
Dude, Triunfel, when he came up here last year, towards the end of the season, he wasn't that impressive. I mean, he was our highly touted prospect, former number one prospect in our system, and look how it turns out. Just the Mariners' luck, like usual.
Yeah, we'll see whether these moves actually make a difference. But let's focus on the positives. Felix Hernandez having another outstanding season.
Who cares? No, if you get Felix, you can always get that good pitching somewhere. The Mariners always have good pitching.
What?
You need some bats.
Did you just say, who cares that Felix Hernandez has an ERA of just over 2.0?
All right, I'm tired of all this pitching. Oh, wow, this pitching is so good. It's amazing. Yeah, I know they're good. The Mariners pitching has always been solid throughout the whole entire franchise. You
can't just take that for granted. If he looks like one of the top 3 pitchers in the whole MLB, you're taking it for granted.
I am taking Felix for granted because he's that good. You expect that of him. You need You need bats. You need
obviously we need more offense if we're going to become a team that's successful in a playoff team. But I don't think you can't just dismiss Felix's season.
What teams have won a championship who just ride their pitching and have no offense?
That is not the point right now. The point we're not nearly.
Yes, it is. You're not going to be a championship team if you just ride your pitching. Your pitching is far better than your hitting. We need to
become a 500 team before we get a championship team. Okay?
Pitching, you're going to have bad days and good days when you pitch. The offense, if you have a good offense, they will bail you out on those bad days. And on good days, you just need the offense.
The Rays, a few years ago when they played the Phillies in the World Series, their team was totally based on pitching. It was It was a pitching first team.
Longoria.
Yeah, Longoria is obviously a stud player.
Zobrist was good.
Zobrist was terrible that year.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was.
They had Carlos Pena was in a great year.
Carlos Pena's bat's like 220.
They had a low cost team, great hitting and great pitching. I mean,
you can't say pitching isn't important though.
I wasn't saying pitching is important. I was saying
hitting is Felix's season.
Hitting is more important. I'm not dismissing his season. I'm saying we all know Felix is a great pitcher. He's going to perform to his best ability every outing, and that best ability is very good. But hitting is gonna lead the way to championships. You can't just keep relying on pitching 24/7.
Obviously, we need more hitting, but it's not as simple as you're making it out to be. So, what are you suggesting we do to solve this problem?
Trade pitching prospects for significant bats instead of just prospects like Cliff Lee for Justin Smoke. This prospect you need. Cliff Lee for
Justin
an
Smoke
impact
has been red hot recently.
Justin Smoke is terrible.
Justin Smoke has been red hot. He's been batting like almost 300 over the past month. He's like second in the American League among first basemen on average.
The teammates around him suck.
Fourth in AL in on base percentage among American League first basemen.
It doesn't matter.
I'm obviously not saying it's justified to trade Cliff Lee for him. But obviously, the offense needs to be improved. But I still think you have to recognize Felix's season.
Okay, well, we know Felix is going to have a good season. It's just, I'm not getting tired of everyone saying I'm not getting tired of everyone saying, Felix is just great, and they're praising him. Of course, I don't blame them. Felix is a great pitcher, all that, great player, most likely Hall of Fame. But, it comes to a point where you have to change the conversation. It can't just be about Felix. You have to get some hitting, make people excited about the offense of this team and just pitching. And I compare the pitching, I guess. I mean, the pitching is really gonna. If you have the hitting there, the pitching will back you up. But I mean, the hitting I think is the main point. Teams in general need to focus on, but they need to acquire that hitting first and then back it up with solid pitching. And I mean, random prospects from the minor leagues can turn out to be great pitchers. I mean, of course, there's some random prospects that turn out to be great hitters, but I mean, you just got to build that stable foundation on offense first, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I agree with you that the offense needs to be bolstered, and we just haven't had the success in acquiring major bats or developing major bats. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I'm trying to be patient and optimistic. Like 2 weeks ago when we had won 5 series in a row, people weren't being this pessimistic. So I think winning cures everything, and then all we got to do, hopefully we can turn it around. If not, then obviously more moves have to be made. But at this point, I think it's just time to be patient still. So after that whole debate, first, do you think Felix will have by the end of the season an ERA of over or under 3.0? It was over 3 last season.
If the offense doesn't step it up and doesn't give him some confidence, I think it's over 3.0, and he had a over 3.0 ERA last season.
I don't think his confidence is going to be an issue. He's pitched well with equally bad batting, but I think what will be an issue is how heavily they lean on him. He's going to be pitching full games. I think that ERA is going to it's going to be over 3.0 when it's all said and done, because I don't think they have any relief pitchers that can bail him out.
His ERA, I believe, is 2.07 right now. I think is the number it's at. And so I think he can keep it up. I am a little worried about the back, the little nagging injuries, the wear and tear on him. If he, as Joey said, if they work him too much. But I'm going to say under 3. I'm being optimistic. So now it's going to time to move up to the toss-up section.
All right. So for the first point, first discussion on our toss-up section will be which one of the big 3 pitchers in the Mariners minor league system will be called up first? I mean, you've heard so much about them, so which one are you going to see first?
Well, the 3 guys, if you guys don't know, are Paxton, Holton, and Taijuan Walker. And I'm going to say Taijuan Walker. He's my favorite of the 3, and I think he has the best chance to get called up.
I got to go with Holton because he has that college experience. Walker's still like 19 or 20. Holton's about 22, 23. Could see him in July if he performs well. I know he had a minor setback earlier this year with some stiffness and somewhere. He had some injury. But I think you'll see Holton first as a great pitcher in college. He's just finding his control and command in AAA right now. And once he shows that over the next month or 2, I think he could be seeing an all-star break call-up or sometime around then.
I agree. Holton will probably be the first one called up. There was so much hype around him years back, and he's been in the system the longest. He'll probably be the first one.
All right, next up, toss-up. Do you think? I think we should send down Aaron Harang to bring up Jeremy Bonderman. Yes or no? Do you think we should do that?
I gotta go with yes, because what other option? I mean, you gotta try something different. If you're in this losing streak, you can't just keep doing the same thing day in and day out, throwing out the same players. You gotta change it up somehow. Showed it today by getting rid of Andino and sending Montero down yesterday. Bringing up Sucre and Treon Felt, hopefully bring some energy. I think you need to do the same thing with Harang and Bonderman. Send down Harang. You'd put him in waivers because I don't think he has a AAA option. But give Bonderman a chance. If Bonderman doesn't perform well, then you're just screwed.
Yeah, Bonderman had been pitching really well in the minors recently. He struggled a little bit in his last couple starts. But I think you should definitely bring him up. Harang has just struggled so mightily. But also time is running out because I know there's a special clause in Bonderman's contract that if he doesn't get called up to the majors by June 1st, he can opt out and go into free agency. So I think the time is definitely of the essence. I think we should bring up Bonderman for Harang.
Yeah, Harang has proven that he's an ineffective pitcher. Bonderman has yet to show us anything, so you got to take the chance.
All right, next up, as we said earlier, Robert Andino was designated for assignment, and Carlos Triunfel was brought up. Do you think that move will pay off, yes or no?
I think that move will pay off. Andino, when you watch Andino play, he doesn't even care. He doesn't even look like he cares. Triunfelt, he's given this opportunity. Young guy, you got to. I mean, the veterans will tell him you got to seize this opportunity. You got to take it in stride. You got to execute. I think Triunfelt will be inspired by this, and I think knowing he knows he was the number one prospect in the Mariners system, and he knows he's digressed a little bit over the past years. So I think he knows he only has so many more chances to prove himself. So I think it'll pay off well for the Mariners in the long run.
I am not sure it'll be so successful because although you can't really do much worse. Robert Andino is one of the worst hitting shortstop middle infielders besides Brendan Ryan, I guess, who's our starter. But I just don't know how much better Triunfelt is going to be than Andino. I think he wasn't all that impressive in the chances he's had so far. So I'm optimistic, but I don't really see that much potential. I don't see that much chance for it to pay off.
I completely agree. Don't see much
Can't talk.
Joey doesn't see much spark, apparently. I don't know what he's talking about, but seems like we're going to move on to Joey's real area of expertise, the NBA. We're going to give you guys a taste of something besides Seattle sports for a little bit. So our first toss-up for the NBA is, who do you think is more important to their team? Quincy Pondexter to the Grizzlies, UW man, or Kawhi Leonard to the San Antonio Spurs? Joey?
Kawhi Leonard, without a doubt. Just to have that versatile player, he can step out, hit the corner three. He can bang down low.
Does that better than most players in the league.
I've seen it from Kawhi Leonard on a consistent basis. He can play defense.
Does it on an everyday basis. Every game you see Pondexter. All Pondexter does is sit in the corner. I mean, he's not a vital part.
He's not a dynamic player at all.
All right. So I think Kawhi Leonard is more valuable across a whole season and potentially for the future. But for this series, I think it's got to be Quincy Pondexter, because with the starting lineup of Tayshaun Prince and Tony Allen at the 3 and the 2 for the Grizzlies,
those guys are pretty old.
There's no floor spacing, so the Spurs can just pack the paint and just dominate and double team Zach Randolph. But when Quincy Pondexter's in, it really spaces the floor a lot better.
He dunks on people, shoots trays all day.
Gives Randolph a chance to move around in the paint and actually work the offense like it's supposed to be. So over the long run, I'd say Kawhi Leonard, but for this series, Quincy Pondexter. Our last one, who is more likely to come back in their series? The Pacers down 1-0 with the game tonight, or the Grizzlies down 2-0 heading back to Memphis? Marshall?
I gotta go with the Pacers. Actually, they played the Heat so well at home at the Heat's home, and I think if they showed that they could play in this close when the Heat had a ton of rest time, days off. I mean, they were still practicing, of course, and getting ready, but they had that extra time of preparation that the Pacers didn't, and the fact that the Pacers played them so close showed a ton. So I think the Pacers will come back in this one. Maybe Roy Hibbert will play at the end of the game.
Yeah, I think the Pacers, obviously, they're looking good. They should be confident, even though they kind of blew the game there at the end. But I gotta stick with my Grizzlies. Love them. And I think they play so tough at home in Memphis in the grindhouse, and they are just virtually unstoppable there. And I see them winning the next two games in Memphis, coming back to tie up the series. I'm going with the Grizzlies. We all know what Joey's going to say. Let's hear the pitch for the Pacers, Mr. Calabro.
This is really, really close here. I do agree with a lot of things Jackson just said. I think San Antonio's, obviously they're pretty old. The Grizzlies have a very dynamic offense. But the Pacers, they have the best chance of anyone in the NBA of beating the Heat. And I think they can do it. They got a young team. They're got a dynamic offense, stifling defense. I got to go with the Pacers.
All right, so I think that does it for the toss-up section, and we'll be moving on to a little Huskies and Sonics news.
Okay, as Marshall said, the Huskies, the big news recently, besides the guys playing in the NBA like Quincy Pondexter, is the alumni game. The official alumni game has been scheduled for June 23rd. Guys like Terrence Ross, Tony Roten, Isaiah Thomas, Nate Robinson, Spencer Hawes, John Brockman, and others including Lorenzo Romar's first
Brandon
recruit,
Roy.
Bobby Jones.
Yeah,
coming
Bobby
back.
Jones. Let's go.
So it's going to be a great game. A lot of fun to watch all those guys come back.
Yeah, as Jackson said, going to be an awesome opportunity. Just shows the wealth of talent that has graduated from the University of Washington. Way better than Washington State, right, Joey? Nobody's graduated from Wazoo besides Klay Thompson. What other Cougars are in the NBA?
I can't argue with that.
Aaron Baines, Spurs, backup, third on
No
the
one,
depth
no
chart.
one of any significance besides
Clay.
good old Clay.
Yeah,
Cassius Clay.
I mean, it'll be good to see all the guys back together. Dunk contest, 3-point stuff, alumni game, and current stars game who are in the NBA. So
And also, the most fun, I think, part's going to be Isaiah and Nate Robinson going to square off in a dunk contest. That's going to be
That's
a
sick.
blast to watch those guys.
Terrence Ross.
Isaiah and Nate are both going to be in it, too.
I know, but it was
Dude.
featuring Nate
Dude, I'll
Robinson and Terrence.
Who's your call for the? Is that going to be your call, Terrence Ross, to win it all?
Yeah,
Dude, I'm taking Nate
he
Robb.
won the NBA dunk contest.
Dude, Nate Robb won
this
twice in a
year.
row.
Yeah, well, Terrence will win next year too.
I'm taking Nate Robb.
And then the next year. And then the next
All right,
year.
Joey, what's your call? Who's going to win the dunk contest out of those guys?
Oh, dunk contest judges are always favorable to the little guy.
Yes, they
It's
are.
gonna be Nate Robinson.
Nate Robinson, baby. Joey knows.
All right, so that'll be something to watch for. You can get your tickets at gohuskies.com. So I mean, football, there's really nothing that new on the football front.
Nothing to report.
Recruiting starting to pick up a little bit. So
Everyone's
check
favorite.
out dogman.com, the best site out there
Yep.
for UW
More
news.
shameless self-promotion by
And
Marshall.
then now we're gonna move on to the Sonics a little bit. I think we did our last podcast when the recommendation vote was done, which was 7-0 in some accounts and 4-3 in others. But no, despite that fact, the owners voted in favor of the Kings staying put in Sacramento, 22-4 and 8 against. And more owners were actually, more than 8 owners were in favor of moving the franchise to Seattle. But of course, David Stern comes in there and messes it all up because he hates Seattle for what reason? No reason. Exactly. So, I mean, really, there's got to just only way to get the team back now is expansion. I know Joey's dad reported last week that he talked to a high-up TV executive who said expansion was about 24 months away instead of 48. Like he had previously had been notion that it was going to be 24 to 48 months before a expansion team was possibly coming back, and Joey's dad actually reported that it was 24 months.
I feel like
Joey has no clue that his dad even reported that. Wow.
Joey knows everything that's going on. Come on,
Joey.
But none of this. I feel like all these reports. I mean, there's nothing official, so it's really hard to say. But I really the one thing I need to say about this David Stern thing, the thing that really pissed me off, is at the end of his interview, he concludes his interview by saying, "Oh, I don't have any more time."
He started
his interview.
He
He started his interview by saying he doesn't have much time
Amateur.
because he has an OKC game to go to. Does he not realize the audience? If he doesn't realize his audience, what I mean?
No,
come
he
on.
does realize
And
the audience. He's not
if he does
stupid.
realize,
He
then
just
he's
hates
just directing it right at
Seattle.
us, just to rub it in our faces. It's the worst thing.
And that smirk on his face when he said it too. That's what rubbed me the wrong way.
God, it's the worst.
Just David Stern's face should be put up on a dartboard
Thank
and
God
just
he's retiring.
nailing it
Adam
with like
Silver.
50 darts.
Adam Silver's going to turn around. I believe
Dude,
it.
Silver's gonna be a ball. I can't wait till February.
But and more importantly, Chris Hansen says that he's not going to quit. They're going to keep working. They work this
love
hard.
that guy.
But they have scaled down the arena process a little bit. They've slowed the process a little bit, so that shows that they know that something's not immediate. But we'll see. They're still working hard to get it done. So.
I think that does it for our sports talk. Gotta get our Twitter shout outs out here. Any shout outs really? Joey, what is your shout out? Put you on the spot, big guy. Nothing.
Indy 500 this weekend.
Oh my
From
goodness!
Indy. Who
He goes
watches
with the
that?
car racing.
Give it a chance.
Get out of here!
Give
Hey,
it
I
a
got
chance.
I have my shout out.
Yeah.
You
Whoa,
wait.
whoa, whoa! Hold on.
Okay.
All right.
Let him say
All
his
right,
thing. Let him say his
Indianapolis
thing.
500, beautiful tradition down there in Indy. My grandparents live just 5 minutes away from the track.
Wow, that's
Great,
cool.
great celebration of just life.
Great.
Oh my god!
Life of wasting gas.
Yo, Jay Calabro
Jay Calabro
at Jay
6.
Calabro 6
Follow him, guys. He's the man.
on Twitter.
My shout out. Make sure to watch the UEFA Champions League tomorrow morning, 11 a.m.
What is
Fox
wrong
Soccer
with you
channel.
guys?
my-
car
I'm getting
racing
into-
and soccer.
I'm getting into
You
this
guys are out of your
European soccer.
minds.
I'm loving this European
I'm going to
soccer.
conclude the shout outs.
Hey, shout out to Chris Fetters.
Okay, let's go.
Chris
Let's go
Fetters,
too.
Manchester City is coming for Aston Villa. You
Just
gotta
shout
watch
out.
out.
Just shout out. You guys talking about
Oh,
Indy
M.
car
Charrington
racing.
22.
IndyCar racing and soccer. You guys are out of your minds. I'm about to shout out a real sport.
Indy car racing is better than NASCAR.
UEFA's better.
I am going to shout out to the Boston Bruins. Up
Oh my
up 3-1
God.
against the Rangers in their playoff series. They're going to close it out at home. I believe in you guys.
Boston Bruins.
Boston strong, and I am at JSaffon4596 on Twitter.
Follow us on Twitter.
And like us
Like
on
us on
Facebook.
Facebook.
Thanks for listening.